Oh, you dafty. Aye, you. Well, is there anyone else silly enough to try keepy uppies with 2 footballs? All you need is one football. A football app that brings together the latest news and in-match updates to football fans all over the world. One Football covers over 100 international football leagues and competitions live and in comparable detail. Pick a team, any team. You'll receive live official updates from the team you follow around the clock. Make sure you download One Football to ensure you
get a great result. Scotland have just been knocked out of the Women's World Cup, and I am absolutely furious.
1999 out the Fir Park Tunnel.
Recently, when big Scottish football events have happened, such as transfer rumours, etc, etc, I've held my tongue because I don't want to say anything that's going to end up ruining my career. But at times, as a football pundit, you've got to take things on the chin and you've got to put your neck out on the line, because I really want to talk about some of the things I feel passionate about this year's Women's World Cup. I mean, it's the first Women's World Cup I've watched properly throughout. Some of the stuff that's happened at the World Cup, whether it's refereeing decisions or if it's mainly refereeing decisions, a lot of refereeing decisions have just boggled my mind, and it just makes me wonder how on earth some of these referees are getting their badges, because really, if some of these decisions were in Scottish football, the amount of uproar there would be, and some bad decisions are just getting swept under the carpet as if it's nothing. However, we'll get back to that. Let's talk about Scotland's 3 games in the group stage. Game 1 against England. Now, the last time we played England in a big game, it was at the Euros. We got beat 6-0, and we only got beat 2-1 this time. We were 2-0 down at half time, and we were getting absolutely battered. And I thought 2-0 was a fair reflection on the scoreline, although it could have easily been more. The first goal we conceded against England, it was a penalty for, it was a cross that struck the defender's arm in the box, and I mean, the cross was literally about 2 yards away from where the ball struck the hand, and in that, yeah, it's a penalty, but it's very unfortunate. And of course Nikita Paris scores the penalty, and then England scored to make it 2-0. Shelley Kerr inspires the team talk, and we pulled it back to 2-1 in the end, but we were absolutely all over England in the second half, and we were unfortunate. But I can allow a defeat against England, because although we all want to beat England, the English game is far, far ahead of the Scottish game. I mean, in Scotland, most of the players are still part-time. As I was speaking to Leanne Crichton a couple of months ago, she told me that. But in England, it's a very professional setup. Game 2 against Japan, the first goal we concede comes from a wrongly given offside call. When we were attacking, we play the ball forward, we're offside, although there was about 4 or 5 yards in it, and the forward was so far onside, it was unbelievable. I mean, it wasn't even a dangerous attack either, it was just a forward pass. And from the resulting free kick that Japan took, yeah, it took a few passes, but it ended up in the goal. And we were very unfortunate yet again, but then again, you've got to close down the attack. Japan's second goal was just before half time, and it pretty much killed the game. And it was just a hoofed ball up the top, and Rachel Corsie, I think it was, unfortunately had her hand or arm round the Japanese attacker, and she went down. I thought it was very soft, but in today's game that's a penalty apparently, so there's that. We just love conceding penalties, don't we? Tonight's game though, Scotland v Argentina. This is the one I want to talk about most, because I didn't watch the first half, because I was away doing other things. I was working on other videos. And I watched Kim Little's goal back on Twitter. And I was like, right, we'll put the second half on. So second half's going really well. We're 3-0 up with 20 minutes to go. And we're deservedly in the lead. But it seemed like the players had fatigued. They may have hit a wall. But that doesn't stop what happens. Argentina pull a goal back with 15 minutes to go. And I'm like, okay, right, this could be on here. And then, before Argentina score a second goal, a moment completely changes the complexion of the game, is that we had a chance to make it 4-1. I think it comes from a corner, and Erin Cuthbert is completely unmarked, and I think the ball just hits off her. She didn't know much about it. Had that gone either side of the keeper, it's 4-1, it's night-night Vienna, and we are on course to play Germany in Grenoble. However, on the counter-attack, Argentina are going forward, and then we've got like 4 players surrounding the one lady, and she just shoots. It's a complete pot shot from out of nowhere, and unfortunately Leah Alexander can't reach it. She tips the ball into the bar, and then the ball comes back down and it hits the back of her hand and goes in to make it 3-2. I think as a nation, watching the game, we all knew what was coming, because it's the most Scottish thing to ever do. When you're completely ahead and control of the game, you just tend to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And I've experienced it way too many times as a football fan. Argentina get a penalty in the last minute of regular time. I believe it was a penalty. I mean, although you take the ball, you took the woman as well. The thing is, when the original foul occurs, the referee waves play on and just completely belittles any claims for a penalty. Argentina get given the penalty from VAR, and I think that's fair enough. That was a correct decision. Leah Alexander saves the penalty, although VAR calls it back. It's an absolutely wonder save. The whole nation is up on its feet. We're all celebrating. We're all going through to the round of 16 for the first ever time. Scotland will be in the knockouts of a World Cup, male or female. But no, VAR has to come back and give a retake, because Leah Alexander's that bit off the line. I mean, for me personally, I've never really played in goals seriously at all, but as a goalkeeper, how are you supposed to... Because the law states that you have to have at least 1 foot on the line at all times, on the goal line at all times, while the penalty is about to take place, or is taking place. Now, how the hell is a goalkeeper supposed to maintain the focus? You've actually got to split your focus 50-50 from your feet to your hands, because although you need 100% focus on diving for the ball, why is it such an issue that maybe you steal half a yard? I've also been told that goalkeepers are taught to dive forward as well, so you've actually got a bit of an impact when you're making contact with the ball on the save. And in fact, we had basically 1 foot in the next round. For that to be taken away from us like that, it is so cruel, but yet it's the most Scottish thing ever. And just to wrap it all up, there were 4 minutes added on, and only about 1.5 minutes was actually played, because there was so much fanning about with this penalty, and then the referee didn't allow us to play the other 2.5 minutes. Therefore, well, yeah, there's a slim chance in 2.5 minutes you're going to get another goal. But it wasn't played, so we couldn't see a conclusion to the game. But the referee called time early, and no one actually knew that she had blown for full time. Then it took about a minute for people to realise that, oh, it's full time. it just goes to show this referee clearly didn't have control in the game, and she struggled throughout the match. And I'm not just putting this on the referee because it's the referee's fault, etc, etc, because it's not. It's the rules, in my opinion. It's some of the rules that I think they need a bit of a revamp again. I mean, football's far from a polished sport. I mean, you're not going to get a perfect game of football. You're never going to get a perfect rule book because there's always going to be some implications that are not as good for other teams than they are for some. But at the end of the day, I feel we were robbed, and the last 3 games that Scotland played, I feel we were really unlucky. But the lassies can come home, heads held high. We did alright. I mean, we got 1 point out of 9, but it just is what it is, and we were just unlucky, in my opinion. But the thing is about VAR, no matter how much VAR can be used and will be used, the referee can still get the decision wrong. I mean, for example, in the Australia-Brazil game a few days ago, Australia got a goal which was offside, because the attacker went for the ball from an offside position, but the defender headed the ball into their own net, and the referee gave a goal, which should have been an offside. I mean, this is not a complete and utter Gordon Sawyer's-esque rant. This is more of constructive feedback, I think, for FIFA, because although yes, they always change the rules, like they've made 5 big changes to the rule book this season, as of June the 1st, I think. One being you can actually receive a goal kick from inside your own box. That is a massive rule. I didn't actually know that was happening. But what made me just sit and laugh, it was the fact that diving to save a penalty and your feet don't land on the line is also a bookable offence. Say if you accidentally tug someone's shirt and they fall and it's a free kick, that's a yellow card. You can't do much about that. But you can absolutely do nothing about where your feet land, because what you're meant to think about is saving the penalty. I'm just really disappointed with how the game played out, and I know people may be saying that I'm just jumping on a bandwagon because I've never actually produced any women's football content before. But when it's Scotland, it's different. And this World Cup's actually gripped me with like a proper passion for watching and cheering on the women's football team, as it should with quite a lot of people. Because I'm sure there'll be a lot of people inspired by just our performance. People will always say, like after the England game, oh, we can be proud of our ladies because they played so well. It's the same with the YouTube game last week. Oh, we played so well, but we lost. I mean, there's a common theme here. And I think it's just a thing that's bred into us Scottish people, that it's okay to lose as long as you try. And I just wish it wasn't that way. Suppose, as they say on Love Island, it is what it is. Anyway, are we done here? I am, definitely. It's like midnight. Take me a while to think of what to say on this one. But yeah, if you want me to do more of these style of videos, and this is a complete extra for yous. I didn't expect to have to do a rant tonight or whatever. And yeah. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Welcome to being Scottish.